Who's stronger, him or you?
If Badlands Shugs used 120% of his potential, he might cause me a little trouble.
But would you lose?
Nah, I'd eat! Stand proud, Badlands Shugs, you are strong!
Out of all the sperm I just released, who would win? Them or you? Well, if they were to go straight for the egg, they might cause me a little trouble. But would you lose? Nah, I'd win. While the sperm was on his way to the uterus, woman opened her domain, the immune system, and cells from woman's body started slaughtering millions of sperm cells. Luckily for man's favorite sperm, it learned domain amplification and nullified the immune system's sure hit effect. After a hard-fought battle, the sperm finally entered the egg. The egg asked the sperm, "Are you the strongest because you're the first sperm here, or are you the first sperm here because you are the strongest?" The sperm replied, "When it comes to conception, we are the exception, because throughout ejaculation and impregnation, I alone am the born one." As the Na-eyed winds prepared to fight the Stand Proud, the Na-eyed winds summoned with this treasure the honored one who left it all behind and his overwhelming intensity, who then opened the malevolent kitchen which said, "I'm you." However, in a one-on-one battle, always bet on Stand Proud being the exception.
Rockin' the turf. Sippin' up up, it be like bourbon. I couldn't go by the lobby, I'm thinking about work. Yeah, I better sign for a lot, cause shit ain't yours. I got a whole lot of money coming.
As the oxygen and glucose move through the cytoplasm, creating pyruvate during glycolysis, the mitochondria knew it was almost time to take action. But it could not do this without the citric acid cycle and electron transport chain. Thus, the pyruvate asked the mitochondria, "Are you the powerhouse of the cell because you're the mitochondria, or are you the mitochondria because you're the powerhouse of the cell?" Before the mitochondria used domain expansion, cellular respiration, and the cursed techniques NADH and FADH, the cell questioned the mitochondria, "Can you still make usable ATP?" The mitochondria replied, "If I couldn't find glucose, I might have a little trouble. But would you lose?" Nah, I'd win.
As the antibiotic moves into the body to kill its enemy, the bacteria knew it was almost time to take action. However, it can't do this without creating resistance. Then, the antibiotic asks the bacteria, "Are you strong because you are bacteria? Or are you bacteria because you are strong?" Before the bacteria uses domain transmission and the cursed technique, conjugation, transformation, transduction, the pathogen questions the bacteria, "Can you still eliminate the antibiotic?" The bacteria replied, "If I didn't have beta-lactams, I might have a little trouble." But would you lose? Nah, I'd win.
The asteroid was on its way to hitting Earth. Jupiter came on the way and said, "If you want to hit him, you have to come through me." The asteroid replied, "Are you strong because you protect Earth, or do you protect Earth because you are strong?" Jupiter replied, "Stand proud, you are strong, but nah, I'd win." In that moment, the asteroid launched its multi-speed explosion attacks. However, it did not know two key things. The first is that Jupiter is the infinity shield of the solar system, and the second is that throughout heaven and the solar system, Jupiter alone is built different.
As the reader reads Jujutsu Kaisen Chapter 247, they witness the death of Hiromi Higuruma. Fans then ask the question, Are you Gege Akutami because you kill characters, or do you kill characters because you are Gege Akutami? Then he responds with, nah, I'd win.
Sukuna, why? Why won't you give me the answers for the AP Bio test today? You promised me that we will get an A+ together.
I'm the one that's getting the A+, not you, hooligan. The cheat sheet is all mine. I copyrighted it. Gojo.
That leaves me no choice, Sukuna. That's why I slept with your girl last night, dog.
Fuck you.
What did I do? Reversal technique. Shoot up the classroom. See you later, alligator. We aren't done yet! You are on the fraud watch! Imaginary technique. Scope him like JFK!
Domain expansion.
Domain expansion!
Looks like you using your domain made you lose an extra chromosome.
As the honored one, Miwa prepared her new shadow-style attack in hopes of finishing Kenjaku in one single swing. She would never be able to wield a sword ever again.
Let's go!
Would you win?
Nah, I'd lose.
I'm a fire guy. I'm inside the building with the breeze. I'm serving fire guys. You got no lay down, got no baby.
As the farmer, Kashimo, was collecting his daily harvest, he heard an unknown voice that exclaimed,
"Is that a farmer, Gyat, I see?"
He would turn around to see a silhouette familiar to us all. A silhouette belonging to the super senior Gojo Satoru, who proceeds to say that Kashimo
looks female enough.
So, if you and Gorlock got into a eating competition, who would win?
If they were hungry, they might give me little trouble.
But would you lose?
Queso confidently responded, nah, I'd win.
Dang, of course I don't have any blue cards at the right time. Anyways, it's your turn now, Brat.
Uno! I win again!
What?
Why is this motherflocker always winning?
Y'all are just bad at Uno, admit it.
Yeah, whatever.
Sure, Brat, just wait until the next round.
Anyways, I'm gonna go take a crap real quick.
You better be quick so we can continue playing, bro.
Oh crap.
Did those cards just fall out of his booty?
So this beach was cheating this whole time.
Guys, I can explain this.
Explain, huh? Why don't you explain?
How you will survive this domain expansion.
Hollow, purple.
Ain't no flocking way they doing all that over a game.
As the student opened his notebook domain and started solving the linear system, he asked to the system, "Are you compatible because the ranks of the complete and incomplete matrices are the same? Or are the ranks of the matrices the same because you're compatible?" The system simply answered, "Would you believe me?" The student said, "Nah, I'd find the determinants." In the next 4 minutes and 11 seconds, the student found that the solution of the system was only one, due to the Rusche-Capelli theorem. In that moment, the system fully thought the student wouldn't find the solution, but he didn't know two things. The first is, always bet on the student. The other one is that with this treasure he summons and his overwhelming utility, the student knew Kramer's rule. As Miwa, Yuko, and Zoro get trapped in Nah I'd Stand Proud's domain, Miwa says,
"And his overwhelming intensity? You're strong, the honored one. Proud, win?"
Yuko adds,
"Coffin of the Iron Nanami, Malevolent Kitchen, 4 minutes and 11 seconds. Bet always on Mojito."
As the Calamity, Nah I'd Stand Proud, listens to their nonsense. He says, "I'm you. With this treasure I, Fingerer. Hikari on bet always. Summon Proud stand. I'd Nah win."
Yo, I'm
As the integrator got out his pen and began solving the problem, he asked the function, "Are you 0 because we're integrating along a closed contour? Or are we integrating along a closed contour because you're 0? The function then replied, "Stand proud, you are strong, but nah, I'd win." For unbeknownst to the integrator, the function was not analytic and has a singularity within the contour. In that moment, the function could have saved itself, but it did not know 2 key things. The first is always bet on the integrator, and the second is that the integrator knew residue theorem.
As Mickey Mouse opened his domain expansion, Mick Oblivion. That's when he can channel his cursed energy and turn it into Mickey energy, where he can pull a win from out of nowhere. He quickly began to clash with Donald Duck, who opened his domain Infinite Gibberish, which is a domain that turns off the intelligence of the person he is fighting until their brain is mush and they can't speak in coherent sentences, weakening their cursed energy. This battle was going to be fierce. As the calculus student observed the function as it approached x on the graph, he realized the function began to increase rapidly to infinity. The student then asked the function, "Are you a limit because you are infinitely increasing while approaching x? Or are you infinitely increasing while approaching x because you are a limit?" The function then replied, "Stand proud, you are strong." For unbeknownst to the student did not know 2 key things. 1, the function had a limit from both sides at x, and 2, always bet on the limit. The student then opened up his domain, precise definition of a limit. The professor then asked the student, would the limit exist? The student replied, well, if the function only existed on one side of x, it might give me a little trouble. But nah, I'd prove. Throughout functions and graphs, I alone am the existing limit. With this treasure I summoned photomath.
As the strongest bacteria, Shigella entered the cell. It began to expand its domain. Malevolent infection. Unable to counter, the cell used its domain, unlimited apoptosis, and summoned cytochrome C from the inner mitochondrial membrane. The sure hit technique, apoptosis, was going to hit. Then the cell asked the caspases who would win, you or the bacteria. The caspase replied, if the bacteria were to alter the nuclear material, it would cause me some trouble. But would you lose? Nah, I'd win.
As the integrator got out his pen and began solving the problem, he asked the function, are you 0 because we're integrating along a closed contour? Or are we integrating along a closed contour because you're 0? The function then replied, stand proud, you are strong, but nah, I'd win. For unbeknownst to the integrator, the function was not analytic and has a singularity within the contour. In that moment, the function could have saved itself, but it did not know two key things. The first is always bet on the integrator, and the second is that the integrator knew residue theorem.
After Stand Proud opened up his domain, he said, are you are strong because you are, I am you? Or are you the one who left it all behind? And his overwhelming intensity, because with this treasure I summon, the fingerer simply answered, nah, I would win.
As the strongest sorcerer in history, Miwa fought the fraud, Jogoat. She began to open her domain. Jogoat shrunk back in fear and asked, are you? You are. I am you, because you're Kasumi Miwa. Or are you the Stand Proud who left it all behind with this treasure? I summon always bet on the overwhelming intensity of nah, I'd win being the exception. Miwa responded calmly.
Nah, I'd take the back shots.
When the Earth was revolving around the Sun asked the Earth between all the planets in the solar system who is the strongest, them or you. The Earth replied, if Mars were to get an atmosphere, it might give me a little trouble. But would you lose? Nah, I'd win.
As the monstrosity of Epstein Island was brought exposed to the public eye, there was a certain famous scientist revealed to have a disturbing fetish. When reporters asked Stephen Hawking why he liked to watch nude children solve difficult equations, he said, nah, I'd groom.
I said, better late than never, better late than never. You're better late than never, better late than never.
As the man who knew infinity, Srinivasa Ramanujan, was chilling in his quarters, his subordinate, G.H. Hardy, asked him, who would win, you or the tuberculosis? Ramanujan responded, if it gets worse, it might cause me a little trouble. But would you die? Nah, I'd win. Toji Fushiguro, the one who left his wallet behind, was identified as extremely motionless. His average kinetic energy of particles approached 0. In other words, he was effectively 0 degrees Kelvin, or negative 273.15 degrees Celsius.
The nation of Africa came face to face with a formidable opponent, the overwhelming intensity of the one who left it all behind. Ebola virus, it said, I alone am the honored one.